The last thing I remembered was the world going dark as my body crumpled under their powers, the sound of bones snapping, the weight of Minjin's gravity crushing me, Jisu's electricity searing my skin. It all faded into nothing. I thought that was the end. I thought finally I could escape the nightmare, but I was wrong. When I woke up, the first thing I felt was cold metal beneath me, cold air, and a chill that sank deep into my bones. My eyelids fluttered open and I saw it, steel walls, sterile and bare, with only a single light flickering above me. I tried to move, but my arms were bound to a chair, my legs strapped down with thick, unbreakable cuffs. This wasn't the hospital. This wasn't even a prison. This was something worse. Time lost all meaning. It could have been days, weeks, or months. Every second felt the same in that cold, sterile room. The only constants were the pain and the regeneration that followed. The people who held me here, they called it research, but I knew what it really was. Torture. They wanted to see how much I could take, how far they could push me before my body gave out. But it never did. The first few weeks were the worst. Every time they broke a bone, burned my skin or tore into my muscles, I thought it would be the last. I thought I would finally die. But my regeneration kept bringing me back. Faster, stronger, more violently than before. I could feel my body healing in ways that weren't natural. Every time they broke me, I came back different. My skin wasn't as soft as it used to be. My bones weren't as fragile. With each cycle of pain and healing, I became something else, something less human. The first time I noticed the change, I had been staring at my hands, which they had burned with acid just moments before. My skin healed, but it didn't come back the way it should have. It was darker, almost black, the texture rough and hard like stone. I clenched my fists and felt the weight of them, heavier, denser, like they didn't belong to me anymore. I thought it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but every time they tore me apart, the same thing happened. I healed, but it was wrong. The human softness of my skin was replaced by something else, something monstrous. My bones grew thicker, my muscles tighter, and my nails sharpened into claws. I began to lose track of the small things. My face, my body. None of it felt like it belonged to me anymore. I had always been Hans, the quiet boy who just wanted to survive. But now I didn't know what I was. The more they pushed, the more I changed. My eyes, once brown, had turned a deep red. The scars that once covered my body had become permanent marks, twisting across my skin like cracks in stone. My hair fell out, replaced by something rougher, more like a mane than hair. The worst part wasn't just how I looked, it was what I felt. With every cycle of torture and regeneration, my mind began to warp. The pain became normal, almost comforting in a twisted way. My thoughts became darker, more violent. Where once I wanted to survive, now all I could think about was tearing my captors apart, limb by limb. But I was too weak. My body, no matter how monstrous it became, was still bound by their machines, their chains. I couldn't escape, no matter how much I wanted to. And so I waited. And while I waited, I changed. 3 years. In the days blurred together. My body, once human, had become something else entirely. My skin had turned black and rough, like stone or molten rock. My eyes burned with a constant red glow, and my nails had grown into sharp, jagged claws that tore through anything I touched. My muscles had expanded, bulging in ways that made me look more beast than man. But the real change wasn't just physical. It was in my mind. The memories of who I used to be. The boy who lived for his mother, the boy who wanted to be left alone, were gone. All that was left was the pain, the rage, and the desire for revenge. My captors no longer saw me as a person. I was a creature, a subject. They pushed me to the brink of madness, and when I didn't break, they pushed harder. I wanted to kill them. I wanted to feel their bones crack beneath my claws, to see their blood stain the walls. But I couldn't. The chains, the machines, they kept me in place. All I could do was regenerate and wait. 5 years in, I had become unrecognizable. I no longer knew what I was. My body had fully transformed into something monstrous. My skin was black and jagged, with cracks running through it like molten lava just beneath the surface. My teeth had sharpened into fangs, and my eyes burned with an insatiable hunger for destruction. The scientists who came to study me no longer looked at me with curiosity. They looked at me with fear. They knew what I had become. They had created a monster, and they knew it was only a matter of time before I broke free. And I could feel it too. The power inside me was growing, spiraling out of control. My regeneration was no longer just healing me, it was amplifying me. I could feel the energy coursing through my veins, stronger than it had ever been before. I knew it was only a matter of time before I would lose control. Then one day it happened. The moment of transformation. I was strapped to the chair, as usual, my body aching from the latest round of experiments. But something was different this time. I could feel a shift in the air, a hum of energy that didn't belong. My captors noticed it too, glancing around in confusion. The lights in the room flickered, and the machines started to whir uncontrollably. Then, without warning, a portal opened in front of me. It was unlike anything I had ever seen, a swirling vortex of dark energy, crackling with power. I could feel its pull, tugging at the very essence of my being. My regeneration went into overdrive. But this time, it wasn't just healing me, it was transforming me, taking me beyond the limits of what I had become. My body convulsed, my muscles spasming as the energy from the portal flooded into me. The restraints that had held me for so long snapped, unable to contain the force building inside me. I could feel my bones cracking and reforming, my skin tearing and reshaping itself. I was no longer human. I was something else. Something monstrous. I roared, a guttural, animalistic sound that echoed through the room. The guards who had once watched me with cold detachment now backed away in fear. I could smell their terror, hear the rapid beating of their hearts. My senses had sharpened to a razor's edge, and all I wanted was to kill. I tore through them like paper, my claws ripping through flesh and bone. The scientists screamed as I shredded them, their blood splattering across the walls. I felt nothing but pure, unadulterated rage. I was free.